Gex-like.
Oh no.
Ugh. This is a Gex-like roguelike Metroidvania.
I have stared too long into the darkness, David. We're falling down the rabbit hole. Video gaming. Welcome.
The coldest open
It's
ever.
just stating the thing that we talk about. Video entertainment. Home entertainment video games.
It started with Pong, and now we're here.
Let's catalog the history. I think maybe that'll be a good starting point for all the people who are just coming on board.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just talk about kind of what a video game even is. You know, Pac-Man. You know, Goku. You know, Gex the Gecko.
Gex the Gek. Gex the Gek.
Maybe a little spoiler for later.
Also, if you didn't read the title of the episode.
Yeah, there was a period of time where we were sort of pulling our punches with which game we were going to talk about. Wasn't in the title, wasn't in the description. We made people wait a little bit. And then, like a bolt of lightning, 50 episodes in, we were like, wait, if somebody searches on the internet for an episode about their favorite game, they're not going to wait half an hour for our dumb fuckery to figure out if it's in there or not.
Mayhaps we were being too coy.
Yeah, I think that's the podcast equivalent of burying the lead. We did quite a bit of.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, we need to be more forthcoming. We need to be more truthful and honest with our listeners.
Open in our communication.
Mm-hmm.
We'll still play a little coy, but you know what's going on. You read the title. We're going to be talking about Gex later. Just just pretend like you're surprised when we get there.
Gex the Gecko.
Blinks the Blinks.
Blinks the Blinks. Rat the Chet.
See, you know what the sign of a good joke is that I put up a couple of bricks and then you immediately come over and just like dunk.
You got all the easy ones out of the way that were not good, and I just followed the natural progression, and it was just there. You like loosened the jar for me is what happened.
That's very kind of you.
You loosened the jar for me. Rat the Chet.
It's much better. Hello, it's Video Game Podtimism.
And
it's
Crunk. Sorry.
The Optimus Video Game Variety Show, where two best friends talk about the wonderful world of video home entertainment. My name is Spyro the Dragon.
Oh.
Yeah.
My name is Knack.
Oh, wow. What a pull. I'm happy about that one.
I am Knack.
Did you play Knack?
Oh, God, no.
I think I did play Knack. I think I purchased Knack 1 for the PlayStation 3.
You bought it was a launch title, wasn't it?
It was, and I think I had a hankering for Knack. Hey, have you been playing video games?
I have been.
Could you tell me about a few of those, please?
I can. I've been playing a lot of 51 International Board and Clubhouse
Games, 51 International
Classics. Classics, yeah, that one. It's kind of become our nightly thing.
Sure.
We play a little Moncala, we play a little backgammon, we play a little darts, we play a little bowling, and Mallory refuses to stand up, so I just destroy her in bowling every time.
Oh, no.
She refuses to do it.
That's your natural gamer instinct, David.
My natural gamer instinct. Is this the power of natural gamer instinct? Sorry. This is getting a little too nerdy. A little too off the rails.
We're making references on references. We're making a reference about our own podcast, which feels very
mixed with a Dragon Ball Z reference.
Correct, yeah.
Actually, Dragon Ball Super, I should say.
Apologies. Yeah, come on, dude.
Oh, God, I know. I'm sorry, buddy. So it's been fun to play all the different games, and there are some that I just like don't vibe with at all, but then others I'm like, okay, that's fun. Like the card games are surprisingly fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
On the Switch, because it takes away the most frustrating part about card games, which is
doing math
and then putting them away.
Oh, I was going to say doing math.
Doing the math too, sure, but I'm thinking more like on the lines of setup.
Yeah, that's the hard part. I agree. That's the hardest part. Math sucks, man.
Math does suck. If I don't have to do it, I won't.
I have taken enough math to know objectively it sucks. I've done the research. I've done the courses. Not good. The verdict on math, not good. Some of it's cool, but actually doing it, not cool.
Chase, what if there's a young child listening to this podcast who's considering a career in STEM, which we desperately need?
Yeah.
And they say, Chase, the video game optimist, a man who is known for his optimism about things, said math is bad. Math is not fun.
Okay. I'll couch it in this. I don't think math is for me. My taste with math, not so good. If you think math is cool and like that's your shit, you're on another plane of existence. It is painful for me to the mechanics of math. The design, whoever designed math, I think was kind of maybe phoning it in that day.
Did anybody design math, or is math just discovered?
See, I'm talking about it like a video game. Like we're talking about a video game. Another very good joke.
I was talking about it like
I was
getting philosophical.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
sorry.
like
this is the wrong podcast for that.
You're doing stoner dorm room questions, which I appreciate. I like that.
How did you know? How did you know?
At least that one produced a laugh out of us. Mine did not, which...
Sorry.
No, it's
you
don't have to fucking apologize for my bad jokes, David.
I love your jokes. I love all of your jokes. I love all of you, Chase.
What other 51 games have you played, David?
It's pretty much been Yacht Dice is the one that we always go back to. Almost always.
Killer.
Yacht Dice is fun. Feels so good when you get a yacht.
Yeah, they really play it up. Yeah.
It's all golden on there on the bottom, ready to be unwrapped like a present. Ooh, feels good. Feels even better when you yell, first roll yacht, and you get it.
Oh, I've never had that happen.
Happened to me the other day. Felt real good.
I'm sure in the other room, Mallory is physically hurting because of you discussing this event.
One time I got 3 yachts in one game.
Oh my God.
It was crazy.
I'm surprised. Like I'm lucky if I get one every couple of games.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a common occurrence at all for me.
That was like the one amazing occurrence that happened.
Yeah.
Like I've gotten a couple other yachts besides that one game, but I got the 63 bonus as well because I had like 2 5 of a kinds to put in my...
Yeesh, dude.
Yeah. I killed it that game. It was great. It felt good.
Yacht Dice is actually the beautiful game. Fuck soccer.
It's actually the beautiful game. Takes no skill. Just roll some dice. Let Jesus take the wheel.
Yacht Dice.
Feel favored by God if you win. Anyways, what else have I been playing? I've also been played a little bit of Cyber Shadow from Yacht Club Games.
Am I thinking of the wrong? I'm thinking of
Is Katana Zero?
No, the like
Messenger?
No, the like wall running 3D game.
Ghost Runner?
You said the video game.
Cyber Shadow.
Yeah. This is the Yacht Club's game. I know the one you're talking about.
You know the one I'm talking about.
I did play this
ninja.
Too. Yes.
You're side-scrolling ninja.
Yes.
The same people who made Shovel Knight, which was a heater, a certified
very good
heater
game.
of a video game. If you haven't played it, go play it.
You should. Yeah, it's very good.
I'm enjoying it so far. I don't think it's quite as gripping to me as Shovel Knight. Just off the bat, fantasy settings are always just much more engrossing to me than sci-fi settings. At least off the first little bit.
Yeah,
the character doesn't seem quite as interesting at first, but I've only played a little bit so far, so I'm reserving a lot of judgment. But I guess it's hard when it looks and feels so much like Shovel Knight to not compare to Shovel Knight. But I can see that there's going to be different like power ups you get to do different things in levels. So I'm hoping it gets a little bit more interesting as it goes on. But so far it's difficult, it's challenging, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily like the first level was super engrossing personally. But I do like the music is so good.
Very, very
the music
good.
is really good. Like you just go into the beginning of that first level and it just starts blasting at you and you're just like, oh hell yeah, I'm a sci-fi ninja. Let's go.
I'm a cyber ninja.
I'm a Cyber Shadow.
Natural gamer mode activated.
Anyways,
my God.
You're going to be pitching me down a lot in this episode, aren't you?
Probably. Certainly that part.
God. But really, it was good. I'm looking forward to playing it some more and seeing kind of where it goes from here. So that was fun.
Sweet.
And I've been playing still some Roller Coaster Tycoon have gotten a lot better at playing the game. Before I was just doing like the pre-made builds, but then I figured out how to like easily modify custom coasters.
Nice.
So I just like blacked out and made this crazy coaster, and it's like by far the most popular coaster in the park right now. I know how to make a good coaster.
Your magnum opus.
I know how to make a good coaster, and now I got plans. I got plans for our little volcano area to like make a coaster around that and do some crazy shit. Just love this game so much.
Yeah.
And really like honestly holds up well to the test of time because so much of it is just based on your creativity, and there's so much that you can just do that they give you the ability to do.
Yeah.
Just so long as you can take the time, at least on the Switch, to figure out the controls, because it does take a bit, right? But once you get it, you're good to go. You're golden. Yeah. So, you know, if you're nostalgic for Roller Coaster Tycoon, you see this on sale, I say go for it. It's a good one. It's fun. Yeah. It really is just a fun time. And you can ride the coaster afterwards. Ooh,
it's always good. It's like always necessary inclusion in those kind of video games.
Oh, 100%. Like if I can't ride the coaster, like
what are we doing here?
Like sometimes I'll just turn the game on and just go ride all my coasters and just be like, okay, I'm good.
Wow.
I'm good.
You're a true auteur.
I'm a true auteur. I just wish I could like walk around the park too and like go and look at the animals. Because I got some animals too.
What kind of animals you got up in there?
Have I told you about my park?
I think so. You said it was kind of like Six Flags, right?
Yeah, because I made like a bunch of water, like I made a bunch of islands essentially where I put the zoo.
Yes.
And a bunch of like wooden bridges to go and see the animals.
Not naturally, yeah.
And there's a big roller coaster going around them. There's a big old mountain with a waterfall coming down. The dolphin show's right in front of it. I told you about that.
I think so. You
were pleased with that.
I was pleased with
real
that.
Good.
Yeah, it's nice.
I can go watch the dolphin show next to the waterfall. It's quite majestic. But no, it's a great game. I'm pleased to say that it, in my opinion, it stands the test of time. Just, you know, without any graphical improvements either. It's just good. Just good game. Although if they did a remaster of this one with like PlayStation 5 graphics, and I got to ride my coaster, that would be pretty cool.
That would get the Benavides by.
That would get, probably, yeah. That'd be good. Did
you fuck with this game when you were younger? Like, did you play Roller Coaster Tycoon?
Oh, hell yeah!
Really? I don't think I knew that.
I played a lot of Roller Coaster Tycoon. I definitely just used all the cheat codes. I definitely did not do like the sim portion of the game. Sure. Which Mallory is big on the sim portion of it. She's like, okay, we got to figure out like what to make all the coasters cost. Like, you got to hire more of these people. You got to do this. You also entrance fee. Going to be going to do marketing. I'm like, I just want to make coasters, man. I just want to make some cool coasters. That's it. I'm on sandbox mode exclusively. Yeah. So she's the business side. I'm the vision. I'm the vision. Jesus. I'm the artiste. Yeah. But yeah, no, I had many a day and many an hour of just making crazy coasters in Roller Coaster Tycoon and killing a lot of peeps. Oh no! Because I would test my coaster. I would test. This never happened to you?
I know that there was the thing where you can like take a coaster apart and like accidentally launch people off into like a pit.
No. So one time it was I was making like it's like a raft or like log flume ride or something. I made it so like it went up really steep and then it came like down a big
gun at the start of it. I'm experimenting.
It's like one of those photo booths, but it's just
a guide that shoots you as you go by. We're experimenting with a new vision.
They had those at Six Flags on that ride where you could get like a water gun and like shoot people who were going by on the ride. Remember that? The raft ride? That was fucked up. But no. So I made a log flume ride or like a raft ride. I forget which one. It was a water ride of some sort. But I made it go up really steep. Yeah. And then I was gonna try to do my inspiration was Sunsplash and how they have that carpet slide rides. Oh yeah. You go down and be like this, right?
It's kind of hilly almost.
Yeah, I was doing that, but I made it too much of an incline at the first bit. So they went down really fast and then hit that incline and then just like yeeted off into a hot dog stand and caused this huge explosion. And then I get a little ticker on the bottom, like 15 people have died in your park. I was just like, whoa, fuck. And then that was that was the lesson that you always test your ride.
I was gonna say
beforehand. You always
do a dry run.
Always do a dry run because otherwise you kill people.
Did people come back to your park?
I think so.
That seems like an odd sort of decision for anybody going to the park.
People love my parks. All the lines were always like, I always had to make the queues bigger because people were just lining up out the door to hit these coasters.
There's a lot of roller coaster parks that I love a lot, that if one person died at, even tangentially related to a roller coaster, I would not be going back. Well, great. I'm glad you're enjoying this game. That's quite a throwback.
It's good. It's great.
Yeah.
Highly recommend.
I feel like a Roller Coaster Tycoon is another one of the games that like I hear from people who like don't necessarily play a ton of video games even now. Mm-hmm. Like today they have no interest in video games, but they're like, oh yeah, I put a lot of time into Roller Coaster Tycoon.
It gives you a great suite of tools to make some crazy stuff with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I certainly get the appeal. Like if you're into like the creativity release, like it's so satisfying. Mm-hmm. I did the same stuff with like The Sims, where like I just used cheat codes to like essentially buff up every single bit of money that I could possibly have and then just build a crazy house, which was always bad. I always thought it was going to be really good, and it was always quite bad. Like I would just end up building a very big room.
Just one room?
Dude, I was not so good at building a house when I was younger. I was just like, what do I want in the house? And then I would build a room and put a bunch of shit in it and be
big
like...
TV.
Yeah, exactly.
A fridge. A big bed. I'm good.
Pretty much. It was... I was not a particularly creative child, but I liked experiencing it. It was still good. Are those the games you're playing?
No, there's one more.
There's one more. What else are you playing?
Cattails.
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 Cattails. I haven't even heard of this video game.
Let me tell you what it is.
Okay, please.
It's Stardew Valley with cats.
Okay. Where are you playing this? Is this Switch?
Switch. It was $2.
Yeah, sure enough.
It was another one that Mallory's like, get that.
Yeah.
So I've been playing Cattails.
Okay.
So start off the game, get to name your cat.
Yeah, what'd you name it?
Flufferton.
Sure.
You get to choose color of the cat and eye color of the cat. And then it sends you off into the story. And the story is you're a sweet little kitten and a little girl comes to the store, picks you out, takes you home. But mom is just like a giant bee.
Okay.
And she just like sees you playing and having fun with the cat and is like really mad. And then like takes you and the cat into the car and is like yelling at her the whole time, and then just like leaves the cat on the side of the road.
Wow.
And drives away.
It's tragic.
That's the exposition for the game.
So it's like a beehive, like honey buzz bee.
Yeah, she's actually a bee.
Is this the extended bee movie canon or something? Is that what's happening here?
Yeah, Jerry Seinfeld is actually the producer.
Seinfeld, not Seinfeld.
Yeah, sorry, Jerry Seinfeld. Yeah, is the executive producer of the game.
I wanted to express my creative vision. This is, again, it's Jerry Seinfeld, not Seinfeld. I'm not held accountable for doing a bad Jerry Seinfeld impersonation because it's a different guy.
But yeah, mom is mean. Mom is just like mean for no reason, and it's not given any explanation as to why she's like so upset about this cat. Yeah. But she leaves you on the side of the road, and then like this like mysterious sexy cat comes and it's like shows you the way of the cat. Like, this is how you pounce. This is how you got to find like all these things around in the forest to stay alive. Okay. And there's these three factions that are warring. So you can be like in the forest faction of cats. You can be in the mountain faction of cats. Or you can be in the bog marsh faction of cats.
You know, bog cats.
The forest people. The forest cats are like chill homies. The mountain cats are like warlike, and then the mystic cats are like the weirdo mystic bog cats.
The swamp cats.
Swamp cats. They're like swamp mystic cats. So I was playing this with Mallory. She's like, swamp cats, let's go. Sure. So we're swamp cats for life. Okay. So it starts off where it's just like, you know, you have, you probably would like this game actually. There's a little ding boy aspect to it. There's you get a little tree hollow to live in. Okay. And there's a little there's a task board that you can go and do certain tasks for your little clan. Yeah. During the day. So the first one was like go and collect a bunch of different like plants and bring them back. Okay. Right. And then also throughout the day when you open up your map, there's different, like the map is just a bunch of is one big square, and then there's like each individual squares that you can go into. So if there's one big square, you can go into it, and then if you go to any of the edges, it loads a different square. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Like a game like that.
I think like
sometimes
Chicory's like that, like Earthbound and shit like that.
So you look it up and open up your map, and there'll be certain points that have like battles going on. You have to like protect your territory from
Like
the other
cat
cats.
battles? Like a bunch of cats?
Like spontaneous cat battles. Yeah, so you just like walk in and there's just like all these cats just like pouncing at each other.
What the fuck, dude?
And you have to fight. You have to fight these other cats.
Okay.
So yeah, you're thrown into like fucking war pretty early.
Yeah. Cat conflict.
Yeah, you have to like scavenge for resources, so all the different plants like do different things for you, like so you have to like they'll heal you. You have to hunt for food, like birds and rabbits and squirrels and stuff to like eat and stay alive, right? And if you don't eat, then you like lose health gradually.
Sure.
And then after the first night in your new clan, this mysterious cat in the beginning who like showed you how to be a feral cat, he disappeared, and he's not part of any clan. And he comes back. He's like, "There's something I have to show you." And he just disappears into a ball of light. And he's like, "Meet me at the temple in the middle of the area."
Oh my god!
And I'll come and talk to you. And you have to go there, and it's just like this gigantic like underground temple, and he's like this huge like mystical backstory to it, and he's like, I think you're the one who like can help us with our problems.
Jesus,
and you go
David.
up to one of these like obelisks, and it starts to like resonate to your presence and like lights up, and he's like, oh, you gotta like bring all these different like animals to it, like these dead animals. Go hunt these animals and bring them back and see what happens.
God, okay.
It's like you're essentially the chosen Flufferton.
Yeah, the chosen cat.
The chosen cat.
The hero of what's a cat?
There's no name for this place. The hero of feline.
The hero of time. The hero of David. I don't think I have a single joke in me this whole time. So
the hero of feline. Like time. It's a middle rhyme.
Yeah, but you came up with that.
Fine.
I was trying to test if there was literally any comedy left in my body, and I don't.
The hero of
the chosen meow.
The chosen meow.
That got a chuckle. I'll take that. There's still comedy left in these dry bones. These dry, brittle, unfunny bones.
But yeah, that's as far as I got.
That's a lot of video game that I was not expecting.
Neither was I. Surprisingly deep mechanics.
I'm watching a lot of videos of Cattails while we've been talking. This is a lot. This is a lot of video game.
The spontaneous battles were the one that got me. I'm like,
yeah,
procedurally generated battles, skirmishes to like maintain your territory.
Yeah, what the fuck is that?
And like each square says like how much control a certain clan has over it. So there's like disputed territories and like your core territory.
I love that.
So you're getting, I was about to say, Chase, this honestly, I was thinking about you a lot when I was playing this game. Like, Chase, there's a lot of things to ding in this game for Mr. Chase Albee.
A lot of visual confirmation of your progress in the video game. David, there's a lot here. I haven't heard of this video game before. Like at no point has this
Neither
ever...
had I.
I'm like sort of in shock.
I shook you with this game.
I think so. Like I feel like I follow video games. I feel like
There's honestly a lot here.
That's what I'm so shocked
not
about.
Bad. It's kind of good.
Yeah.
Actually, so far.
Like the art style looks a little, okay, but like there's a lot of video game here.
So here's my question. Should we both play this game?
Yeah, I'm going to have to. I don't know what's going on in here, but I'm going to have to get a hand on this ball.
Hey, that was a good cat joke.
Yeah, okay, that wasn't too bad. It wasn't intended though, so I'm not sure I'm going to count that.
Gonna have to get a paw on this ball.
Whoa, Cattails. I'm gonna need some time to sort of just sit on this information and absorb.
It might still be on sale.
I mean, regardless, I will be buying Cattails.
I'm just saying you could save $13. That's all I'm saying.
There's a video on YouTube entitled Cattails Game: A Guide to Romance.
Yeah, it's like Stardew Valley. You can romance different cats.
Wasn't expecting that to be a part of the cat game, if I'm being honest.
These cats are horny, man.
I get that. Here's the title card in the video. First, befriend the cat you want to marry.
Did they spell it F-U-R-S-T?
They did not. They did not spell it like that. Wow. Great. I would say, is that the only game you're playing, but that seems kind of reductive.
That's the last one I've been playing.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Playing. You can tell me what you have been playing now. And know you're always just on the edge of your seat, ready to divulge.
I do have some video games. I'm still sort of reeling from the Cattails thing, but I need to kind of cleanse my palate a little bit here.
It's not often I get to surprise you with a game.
It not only get to surprise me, but one that I have literally never ever heard of. That looks pretty good.
Yeah, I'm honestly pretty impressed with it so far.
Okay, let me tell you about some of these video games real quick. The first one I wanted to talk about was a game called Splitgate.
You texted me about that.
I did text you about it. I texted some of our friends about it. Some of the Stank Squad involved with Halo playing, because Splitgate is very much a game that feels like Halo. This is a game that came out fairly recently. I think it's been in beta for a little while. Maybe like a couple of months or something like that, like open beta, fully anybody can get in there. And it is a majority like multiplayer focused, like there isn't like a campaign or anything. It's just online shooting. And it plays significantly like Halo. The major wrinkle being that they have pulled in an influence from Portal. So the game, essentially, if you can imagine a Halo match, it is very much like that, where there are weapons that you start with and you are fighting against another team of usually about 4 people. With various objectives, right? So oftentimes it's just deathmatch. You shoot another group of people until you get the most points, or something like oddball, which is like you carry around a little ball and try not to get killed. And I think you have to like carry it for a certain amount of time to win, or capture the flag or something like that. The like I said, the wrinkle being that around the level there are surfaces that you can essentially throw one end of a portal onto, and then put another end of the portal on another such surface. So you can't just put them literally everywhere. It's a lot like Portal, where there are only certain spots where you're allowed to essentially put portals.
Sure, limits it in a way.
Exactly. And immediately there, you can see through it, you can jump through it, you can shoot through it, and so
shoot through it.
Exactly. It makes a very interesting change up in the like normal sort of multiplayer arena shooter, where typically you are rewarded for simply kind of like beating someone to the punch of like, I see somebody first, or I notice somebody first, or I know that they're coming or something like that, or I have a better weapon. But in this one, like that's certainly present. And I'll say like, I was expecting to just totally be fucked over by people who knew how to use portals a lot better than I did, but that's not necessarily the case. You can definitely still like just outshoot somebody, but it opens up the idea or the possibility of like, you know, say somebody's like really entrenched on the other side of the map or something like that, or like the team is doing a really good job of staying in one little spot. There's always an opportunity to kind of just like dump a portal behind one of them and then put it right next to you and just shoot through it and kind of like harass them that way, or get like a sneak up on the people who are on one side of the map. Something really useful I found is like there in one of the levels, there's these really high walls that you're allowed to put portals on. And so if you put one on the very top and then go into a building and like put the other end of the portal, you can kind of just like peek your head out of a very high vantage point and just like take pot shots at people. Eventually that'll like, they'll catch on to that and be like, hey, there's this dude who is constantly just like high above us shooting at us. Let's go take care of him. But like that sort of asymmetry in the way that you can fight people is like really interesting. And I don't know, I'm surprised I don't see more games that are influenced by Portal. And so it's like kind of like, oh, of course, like, of course somebody is going to do this, right? But they just haven't yet. And so it's impressive to see it finally done. We were talking a little bit about this with, was it Humankind, the video game last week, where a series chooses to inhibit a space that is so dominated by one game. And like, you know, not that Halo is the only online shooter, but this game is very directly going after Halo. Like the guns feel similar, the maps feel similar, the speed feels similar, like just the way you move. Literally the announcer, it sounds like the dude from Halo, like the like double kill, triple kill, all that shit. It's like it's very clearly like this is the thing we're doing. And I think with Humankind, I like for whatever reason haven't clicked with that one. And I think it's like kind of playing with fire when you choose to do this. We're going to try and do a game so similar, but we think we can maybe make enough changes to the point where it's interesting. And I don't know that Humankind has done that for me, despite the fact it's like clearly a well-made game. It's just like, I'm not sure it reaches the same heights as Civ.
Sure.
But with Splitgate, it does feel as good to me as like, the last couple of Halos have felt. I don't know if it has like the staying power or, the same sort of like loops of this game feels good enough to play for hours and hours and hours. And the ranking feels good and the competition feels good and all that sort of stuff. But I've really been enjoying it. It's a super competent shooter. I think it's made by like 2 people, which is shocking. The maps all feel very good. I will say like definitely a lot of influence from Halo maps. Like some of them are like, oh, this feels like midship or something like that. Like there are very clear analogs in some of the maps where like I see where this is coming from.
Yeah.
And I get the criticism that maybe that is derivative. Somebody could describe it as that. But I'm having a good enough time. And I think that it's not so close that I'm like, this is literally just Halo. And that's all it is. I think there's enough sort of twists and wrinkles on it to make it its own thing.
Sure.
I also kind of like the visual design. It's very like bright and shiny and fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fair thing to point out. It's free to play. So you don't have to pay for it. But it's got your sort of typical free-to-play hooks in there, right? Like, there's a battle pass, and to get skins, you probably need to either grind a lot or pay. So far as I can tell, none of that is mechanical. Like, if you pay, you are not going to be better equipped to play the game, which is always really the line, right? Like, I have no problem if somebody offers me skins in a video game. Like, it's like, that's just kind of, get your bag, man. Like, just do what you got to do to make money. Yeah. If you're going to make a free-to-play game. The line I hope a lot of people sort of draw, and this one does, is don't hook the mechanical advantage to play or to buying something.
Yeah.
And if you don't, that feels totally fair. So yeah, I'm like weirdly enjoying it quite a bit more than I was expecting it to, or as I was expecting I was. Seems just kind of like, it's a shooter, and like it doesn't have, not everybody who I talk to is playing it. Which is usually why I stick around with Halo. It's just I know a lot of people who are playing it. But God, it just feels phenomenal. It's super enjoyable. So if you're interested in this, definitely give it a look. It's a very odd experience. I'm pretty positive that it is doing pretty well. So it's not like they need a ton of more eyes on it, but it's still very interesting just to like experience it and kind of feel like this is definitely Halo, but there's other stuff going on too.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting game.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Give that a look.
Yeah, do it. I think it's out on like almost everything. I've played it on PC and Xbox so far.
Switch?
I don't think it's on Switch. It is not out for Switch.
All right.
Fair call. I did say everything. The next game that I am playing is called Psychonauts 2.
Oh,
I've been playing this video
Here we are.
Finally, 16 years later.
Future.
Seriously.
16 years.
It's been a long time, dude.
Oh my God. It's been longer since how old I was when I played the game.
Exactly.
Oh God. Just fucking throw me in the ground now, dude.
It's a harrowing experience.
Christ.
Yeah. So Psychonauts 2, as you may have heard from our bones rattling around just now, is a sequel to a game that came out, I think, in like 2000 and what would 16 years make? Like 2005, something like that.
It was original Xbox.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Rich.
The big boy with the Duke and everything.
The Duke?
That's the name of the controller that shipped with like the OG Xbox. Just it's
called the Duke?
I think it's not that is a colloquial term for it. But if you search the Duke controller, it will pull up the correct.
It was massive.
It's a very big controller.
It was so big. Like Microsoft was just like, how are we going to differentiate ourselves? We're going big. We're going big.
It's like we had been making video game controllers for kids, and Xbox is like, no, we haven't. We've made a video game controller for an adult person, and it's gigantic.
Adult console for adult hands only, children.
It was genuinely enormous, the size of that fucker.
It's still big.
Yeah. So anyway, it came out quite a long time ago. I liked Psychonauts 1 a lot. I think you may have noticed that from our episode about the story.
Same.
It was a truly like original and interesting game. At least at the time, it felt like that.
Mm-hmm.
It like almost came at like the tail end of when like 3D platformers were even still a thing. Like it was already kind of old news by the time it was coming out. Like a bunch of Ratchet and Clanks had come out, a bunch of Sly Coopers, a bunch of Jak and Daxters. Like Jak and Daxter had already moved on to now we're being a GTA game.
It's true.
And this one was like kind of just a regular throwback, but I think what drew me into it originally was just the sheer creativity of the like world building and the design, the characters, like everything just felt incredibly original in a way that like it's not often that I experience something where I'm like, I am dying to see what the next level is, because the last one was such a twist and such a turn. And that was 16 years ago. And then this one came out. I was really worried about this game, that it was going to be bad.
Yeah.
Like
Anchorman 2 vibes.
Yeah, exactly. Like something that I have coveted from my childhood that perhaps is not aged super well. I'm sure Psychonauts 1 aged quite a bit better than or Anchorman did. But
sure.
But still, I was very worried like that Double Fine was just going to put up a brick with this one, because like I've played most of Double Fine's games, I feel like, and I don't think any of them stand out to me quite as much as the first Psychonauts did. But like I played, was it like Stacking or Stacked or whatever that game was, the like stacking doll video game. That was like fine. It was good, right? Like I was just interested in sort of the creativity of it.
Stacking doll video game? Like the Russian babushka dolls?
Exactly, yes.
They made a video game about that?
They did. It was a while ago. It was like kind of, I think 360 era. So that was fine. I played Costume Quest, which was like also pretty good, but like not crazy. Brutal Legend was like very fun, but also like kind of a flawed video game and just sort of its overall thing. Like I thought, again, the creativity was like outstanding, but just like very odd. So I was worried about this one. I was worried that it was going to be sort of like not good or more than likely okay. Like it was just going to be an okay game. And it's really good. This video game is really, really good. Yeah, the creativity that was present in the first one is definitely still here. It is such an interesting game, just design-wise. It has that same pull of, I don't really know what's going on, but I am so interested in whatever sort of like creative metaphor that they put up next. I guess it should be said that like the way the game functions is that you are a young psychonaut named Raz. The game takes place like a couple of days after the first one did.
What's a psychonaut?
I think psychonauts are like kind of the psychic CIA, if I'm understanding correctly. Like they investigate psychic crimes and people who are doing like sort of otherworldly shit, which on its face is just such a cool concept. But the way the game works is that there's like a story playing out that I kind of don't need to get into to explain the concept of the game. But the main pull of the video games, at least for me, was that each one of like these larger levels takes place in the mind of somebody that is in the game. And that is present here. And so you, I don't think this is spoiling too much, but the first like major level that you go into is one of the bad guys from the first one. And like it's like kind of tongue in cheek. They're trying to like trick him into saying who he's working for. And then like the whole level just kind of breaks bad and like you get to see his subconscious and shit like that. And then, you know, it goes on from there. You get to see like a bunch of other characters as like minds, right? And it's just so creative in the way that it chooses to express how these people see the world and how they like conceptualize their own thoughts. Like it's kind of just one big metaphor. And I love that. It's so much fun to like go in and like to see how people think. One of the levels, you like enter into this person's mind initially and you get this new power where you're able to connect two thoughts together and like sort of form new opinions or ideas. And so you're initially, Raz is tempted to like change someone's opinion about something. And that leads to like dire consequences that like have a huge impact almost immediately. Whoa. And it's like kind of irresponsible in the way that it plays out. And that's like dealt with eventually, right? Like the person's like, what the fuck? Why were you doing that? But the point being that the level like really shifts after that. Like after you make these two connections, they have like kind of a mental break. And like do a lot of shit that they're like they wouldn't normally do. And like seeing that shift and just like the way the level has changed is so cool. It just pulls me along so well. Like the sort of like central hub area is like Psychonauts HQ. What do they call it? It's like the hive mind or something like that. It's just a big brain.
Cool.
It's the puns are also astronomical, but it's like this place where all of the like Psychonaut agents work, and I presume some of them live. There's also a batch of interns that you're grouped in with, and so there's like kind of other younger kids there who are they pop up quite a bit. You see them often.
Sure.
And it's so enjoyable to experience the story. It's like I don't need more story to feel satisfied, but I want to keep getting more so that I can keep exploring more levels and more places. Because like they linger in those levels for quite a while. You really do get to like dig into it. And so that's, yeah, it's pretty good. I think that like the kind of comedy that is coming out of it feels very 2005. And like some of that lands for me and some of it I'm like, just, oh my God, dude. Like, it feels like, I don't know, an episode of fucking Family Guy or something like that.
Oh
like,
no.
It's not like quite as like purposefully shitty. But just like that era of humor is still in there. And like, again, some of it's funny and I'm like laughing and sometimes I'm not. It's certainly not enough to detract from me in a major way. Just like when I was younger, I thought this game was like hilarious. And I think now it's a little bit less as funny, but it barely grazes me. I think the game is definitely a lot stronger when it is talking about mental struggles and shit like that, which it does. They were kind of there in the first one, but I think it was a little bit more tongue-in-cheek. In this one, they definitely approach it, I think, with a little bit more care, which like really goes a long way in just sort of understanding how this person might struggle and what they think about and how they think about things. Sort of the self-talk that they're feeding themselves a lot of the time is in there. And so I think the game is really strong when it does that sort of stuff. And so it's great. It's a great video game. Also looks really good. Like it definitely has still the same like sort of 60s era style kind of cartoony vibe to it. I mean like if they literally just put a new engine on it, like it would look good. And I think they've done that. Like it's still very stylized and very like cool looking, but the graphics it looks very good. So
cool.
I don't think that's neither here or there when considering whether or not you should play this game, but it is something that I thought was neat.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, Psychonauts good.
Psychonauts good.
Speaking of graphical upgrade, fucking segue. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I am playing a game called Horizon Zero Dawn.
Ooh, they just patched that, didn't they?
They did just patch that, and it is still a good video game. I've played this game before, and so this is a retread, but I played it when it came out, which I think was 2017.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I think it came out the same year that Breath of the Wild did. It is, shocker, this is going to come to a surprise to many of you. Horizon Zero Dawn, good video game. It's a good video game.
It's a good one.
To explain to anybody who hasn't played this, it's like a kind of like a typical open world game where there are some inciting events in the beginning and you are cast out into a big wide world to go do missions and shit. I think by far the more interesting thing about this game is the world and the people. It is in this like kind of blasted future or like beyond blasted future. Like it has gone beyond the time where things are so fucked. And like, like it's not,
it's gone so far beyond the apocalypse that society has started over again.
Correct. And like from very basic forms, right? Like there are just kind of tribes trying to get along and trying to survive.
Post-apocalyptic.
Exactly. Which is like a very fun place to be usually.
Yeah.
I find that a lot more compelling. I also love stories that take place deeply after an apocalypse where like technology is a confusing thing that they run into. Love that. What is the fucking book? Like Prince of Thorns is what I'm thinking of. It's this kind of like very kind of simple but fun fantasy novel that like really does not show its cards about being in the far-flung future until very late in the game, which I find very good. Similar sort of thing, like Horizon Zero Dawn reveals its hand pretty early with like you get the focus or whatever that your character Aloy puts on in this one, which is like a very cool Bluetooth headset that allows you to scan shit in the world. Gives you an advantage over the monsters, which are these big robotic beasts that look like kind of like dinosaurs or animals, but just instead of that, it's just like literal machines. And so, yeah, I think the world and the characters of this are just so good. I love the world building. I love how they just give you a little bit at a time about the backstory and like what happened essentially. As Aloy, you're essentially just trying to find like what happened to your mother and your family. Because in the very beginning of the game, you're taken in by Roast, this like bearded fucking Kratos looking dude who he takes you in as like a baby. You're an orphan, and so it's unclear about like what happened to you.
This is very much during the tough dad fad.
Yes, absolutely.
In games,
very
tough dad with a heart of mush and gold.
A gruff dad who has some feelings. Yeah, exactly. Very much a Kratos or
Gruff
Joel.
dad learns how to love.
But there's a little bit of subversion of that, and because it doesn't stick around very long. It's mostly about Aloy, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
So it's like most of the story takes place in sort of this like world. I never played the expansion, but I heard it was like very critical to the story.
Oh,
and so that's what I'm kind of going through it for. I've bumped the difficulty down to easy so I can kind of just walk through this game.
it does get challenging at some points.
It does get a little hard, and so I'm kind of just like, I kind of just want to like go and do it.
Yeah.
The 60 frames per second looks absolutely bananas, like just shockingly good.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's fucking good. I don't know why I sort of don't think about this game as like one of the best video games of that year. I think 2017 was just so stacked. It's hard to pull this one out, but like I'm playing it through and I'm like, good Lord, like there's just so much going on here that is so cool and so much fun. The storytelling is really, really great. Like the characters are all really fun and like interesting. Again, like I said, I think the world is the coolest thing here, but it's good shit. It's a good fucking video game.
That one and Breath of the Wild are the only like open world games that have really hooked me for quite some time. Like it's hard. That and I guess The Witcher 3 too. But those are just the cream of the crop, in my opinion, of the recent open world games.
Totally. I think this and The Witcher group a little bit better together because they both have like a similar amount of just a lot of shit in it.
Story and characters and lore.
Or even just like on the map, there's a lot of stuff to do.
Sure.
And like, I think this one does it well because the writing is so good and the characters are so well written and you're interested in just what's going on versus like, you know, it can be overwhelming when you're playing through an Assassin's Creed game or something like that, where there's just a lot of shit and sometimes it is totally insignificant, like not that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
But because the world is so interesting, like any character you can run into or a little bit of lore that you can gather is just like, I want more of that. I need to hear what's going on here. What happens? All the stuff with like the Sun King and shit like that, like where they started like sacrificing people to like, God, like calm down the machines. Oh, yeah. Very cool. Love that. And so like where Breath of the Wild sort of went in one direction where we're going to take everything away from the map and just go run out and do whatever you want to. This one's like, we still have a lot of shit, but it's also very well authored and like very good. Yeah. So yeah, it's really good. I'm looking forward to getting through the rest of it because it's like, whenever I think about playing video games, I'm like, I would love to sit down and play some Horizon.
It's a good one.
The final game that I'm playing, David. It's called Spookware.
Spookware.
Spookware is the name of this video game.
Where? Spookware?
Spookware. W-A-R-E.
Is this like a PS1 era spooky game?
No, in fact, good guess given my history.
Yeah.
But this is a skeleton-themed Warioware game, essentially is what's happening here.
Oh my God.
Yes.
What?
I know. I think
you
I saw
didn't save this for the Halloween episode, Chase?
It is not quite spooky enough. Plus, like, I couldn't wait. October's a full month away. I need to get get a hand on this ball. It is very much a WarioWare game. It is takes a lot from WarioWare, obviously. It's a bunch of micro games that you have to play through. But there is a pretty significantly more a significant more amount of connective tissue between the like rushes of mini games.
Connective tissue.
I know, a lot of bone jokes, a lot of body jokes.
We're talking about the fascia now.
I just mean like
ligaments
in the first the first little like level. It's literally just like one mini game after another, but it sort of quickly turns into like, okay, your three main characters. I think it's MIDI, lefty, and righty because of the way that they sit.
Yeah.
They're all skeletons, and they're like, hey, how long have we been sitting here watching these movies? And they're like, I don't know, a couple hours. And they're like, wait, maybe it's been years. I don't know. We should go do something. And so they crawl up out of their like crypt that they live in, which is like just like a room. And they're like, we should go to school. And then you go to a high school and you're like, we would like to enroll right now. And they're like, it's halfway through the semester. You can't do that, but you should go talk to student services and see if they can help you. And they're like, okay. I walk over to student services and they're like, that's weird, but here's a pass. You should go to class. And then,
worry about that they're skeletons?
Everybody's skeletons. Everybody's skeletons in this video game.
Everybody's skeletons.
Everybody is skeletons. Lots of bone jokes. Really love that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lots of bone jokes.
There is a teacher that you like walk past and there's like a line of students outside of his door. And you can like talk to somebody and he's trying to count all the students here, but he only has 9 fingers. And so I'm not sure how long we're going to be here. and then you go into another room, do your mission, come back out, and it's like hours later, presumably, and the teacher has fallen over on the ground, and he's like, couldn't count past 9, and so he fainted, or something like that. Like, it's very fun and like tongue-in-cheek and ridiculous.
Fascinating.
Yeah, and the purpose of that level is that like you're essentially just like stumbling through school. You like are about to go to like a graduation ceremony. None of it makes sense. It's totally fine. And you have to go like recruit a bunch of people to play in the band that is understaffed. They don't have enough people to play in the band. And so you bring around a set of bongos that you have to impress a bunch of musical artists by doing a mini game, essentially, where it's like kind of rock bandy. You have to hit left and right on the bongo to like play a good enough song.
Wow.
And so it eventually like culminates in just a bunch of mini games. I love this video game. It's so much fucking fun. It's like just the weirdest little like indie game. I am so shocked that more games don't do Warioware. That like literally Warioware is the only game that does like micro games.
Yeah. Where is this genre at?
For real. Like Warioware has been out since like 2001 or something. Like
where are my Warioware-like games?
Yeah.
Aware-like.
Why is this not a thing? Yeah. So I think it's great that they're like invoking the Ware title literally in the name. Like,
yeah,
you know what this is. It's just so charming. The ingenuity and the fun part is definitely there. Like, again, hard to be funny in a video game, but I think they definitely accomplish it here. Yeah. I will say the one thing to be aware of, the game has a certain amount of just like jitter on the screen. I think it's like an artistic decision, which you can turn off, but I was playing it on like
my ultra wide monitor,
kind of close, and I was just immediately dizzy. Dizzy.
What a subtle flex right there.
It's a description of the thing. It's a big old boy, and sometimes you can't see out of your peripheral vision because it's so big.
Playing on my ultra wide monitor.
Well, if I just say a monitor, it's not going to get the point across. It's a wide boy.
My papa has an ultra wide monitor.
My rich father has made me a video game simulacrum with which I can go in.
My daddy hit GoldenEye out in the chicken coop.
It's one or the other. I can't have both. So anyway, I love this game. It's very new, I think. At least I haven't heard about it until very recently, and I think on Steam it like just came out or something. So give it a look if you're into Warioware. I fucking loved it. It's very good.
Hell yeah. Spookware.
Anyway, this will bring me to my podtimistic thing of the week, David.
Yes?
It is. At the beginning of this week's, or I think it'll be last week's episode by the time you listen to this, Triple Click, the video game podcast with Jason Schreier, Maddie Myers, and Kirk Hamilton of Strong Songs, also a very good podcast.
Strong Songs.
And they were essentially just doing like a mailbag episode where they answered a bunch of listener questions. And somebody essentially asked, like, what do you think about games that allow you to make like kind of like negative choices in the game or like very like deplorable actions? And they brought up, stuff with like Disco Elysium where like you can play a character that is like a fascist or something like that, or like not a good person.
Sure can.
And just like everybody's response, I thought was like so well thought out and really interesting about like essentially just saying that it's like a valuable thing to allow you to make that sort of decision, but it is like critical that the game follow through with the consequences of those actions. Whereas like something I think Jason had brought up, Postal, remember that like kind of shooter video game that was just like, essentially just violence for the sake of violence. Like there's no consequences there. You're literally just like blowing shit up, and like that's the point of the game. Mm-hmm. You're playing a bad person and there's no choice in that. That's just the video game. And they said like, even in GTA, like usually playing a bad person, but if you like blow a bunch of cars up, the police will come and get you. Like even if it is a fairly light consequence versus the real world, like there are things that
something happens. Yeah.
Something happens. Yeah. And so like, I don't know. I thought that conversation was really interesting from like a games perspective, because both like all those people have been in games forever now. And the way that they thought about it, I thought was interesting in a way that I sort of wasn't expecting. I think sometimes it can be tempting, for me at least, to say like, oh, this thing, is fucked up because it, the decisions in it are really rough. And, I think you do actually have to kind of like suss out, like, is the game letting me do this? Does it have something to say about that? Or is it just like, trying to simulate a bunch of violence for the sake of violence? Yeah. And there are some games like that, right? Like there are some fucked up, stupid games where like there are no consequences for you being shitty. And it's just kind of like, power fantasy for the sake of being able to shoot somebody. That's fun, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Versus like allowing the player to make a fucked up decision, like, I don't know, in Fallout or whatever, if you nuke that first town, you can in Fallout 3. It's like they really drill home. Like, this was your decision. You killed all those people.
Yep.
And like, that doesn't make Fallout a bad game, but it's interesting to sort of like allow the player to do that and then see what they do with that, like, consequence.
Not to mention all the shops you don't have access to or quests or anything that where you get in
Plenty
that
of stuff.
village.
Yeah. Like, major characters are just dead. Like, it's significant. And so, like, yeah, I thought that was a very interesting way to couch it. So go listen to Triple Click. It's a good podcast about video games. David, do you have something fueling your sense of optimism?
I do.
What is it?
It is creativity.
Ooh, a very broad yet very applicable part of video games.
Yeah. I was just thinking about Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I figured out how to use all the controls to make a coaster, and like I just blacked out and made 2 crazy roller coasters. It felt like
Yeah.
Just went crazy. Like one of these ones, just like all these corkscrews and loops and going up and down, just like beautiful, a masterpiece. And just made it real fun. It's just really great to be able to just kind of do whatever I want with a good consequence at the end of just I made a cool roller coaster for people to enjoy. It feels great to give people enjoyment, even virtually.
Yeah,
see little kids jumping up and down, screaming with joy when they come off your coaster.
That did not kill them.
That did not. Nobody went flying into the hot dog stand. It was a good day. It was a good day.
I feel like that's a hard thing to do in video games, is let somebody flex their creativity.
Giving them just the right amount of freedom.
Yeah, because too much, it's overwhelming. Like, it doesn't feel good. But like, I feel like on one end you have something like on the most creative end, it's like Unreal Engine or something like that, right? Like, it's literally just an editor for like, go build something, which to somebody who isn't like trying to build a video game, that would be shitty. I somebody's not gonna have fun doing that. Yeah. Maybe a little bit farther closer is something like Dreams, or like, I don't know, even Minecraft or Roblox or something like that, where you can build shit in it, and that's kind of the point. But there's definitely some guardrails on there. But I think, sort of closer, and I guess over on the far left, right? It's like, I don't know, Mario or something, where there is such an obvious goal, and your one way to do it is the predefined ththings that they've let you do. There's some creativity in how you
aside scrolling Mario, 3D Mario,
it
gets a little bit more freedom. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
Right, like where there's a point to the video game, and that is the only way to progress it, is to run to the far right of a level. But yeah, I think like that middle ground there is so interesting and such a fun place to like live. Like, you could even, you could look at something like Breath of the Wild and you see a lot of creativity in there, right? Like, there's so many different ways to approach a situation, to like solve any of the puzzles, any of the YouTube compilations where it's like one dude punches a rock 5 times, slows down time, jumps on top of the rock, makes an ice puddle at the bottom of this thing, like was flings himself feet in the air, halfway across the map. Like, just the sheer amount of wild stuff going on there is
throws
really impressive.
A bomb arrow straight up into the air, and then it just perfectly kills like 5 people.
Exactly. Yeah. 360 no scopes a Lionel or whatever.
I know, dude.
But yeah, like I think something like Roller Coaster Tycoon or like The Sims is just such a fun space to go fuck around and like build something that has a tangible effect in the game mechanics, right? Like, you do better because you did a good, cool, expressive thing.
Yeah, no, it feels good.
I think Chicory was also good for this in sort of a different way. Like, they're not judging your paintings, but they are taking notice. And the way that the game gives you feedback about like what you did and how you drew something is really interesting. Yeah. In a way that like definitely is rewarding creativity, or just literally the limits of your abilities. So yeah, there's all sorts of good stuff. Do you want to move on to our main thing, by chance, David?
Yes, please.
Let's do it. So last week we did Spyro. Oh, by the way, hi, it's Good Games. It's the section of the show where we talk about the best games or the okayest games of yesteryear. We gush all the things that we love about them, and that's fucking it sometimes. That's the end of that's the end of this goddamn segment. That's it.
That is it.
Last week we talked about Spyro. All 3 of the first 3. That's a weird sentence.
All 3 of the first 3.
Yeah, an interesting way to put that.
The first trilogy.
I have had a fair bit of this Akashi whiskey, and now we are feeling the effects in my ability to host a podcast. But we figured it would be a really good idea to follow up what was one of the best PlayStation 1 platformers with the obvious, clear...
The king.
It's Gex.
Gex.
It's Gex the Gecko.
Gex the Gecko. He's number one, baby.
What have we done, David?
I couldn't play a lot of this game. I'm going to be honest with you right now.
No. I texted you, I think, sort of middle of last week. David, we should do Gex 3D on Good Games next week. Sincerely, Chase. This was at 1 in the afternoon. I don't know what was going on.
You were ready for Gex, dude.
Yeah.
You were ready for Gex.
So we're going to talk about Gex.
Yeah.
Deep cover Gecko.
For worse.
Deep cover Gecko.
Gex
specifically.
3, the pinnacle of Gex.
The height of
Gexism.
the series. Yeah. Oh, man. Did you play any of these games when you were younger?
I played the first one.
The like side scroller?
Oh, no, I played Gex Enter the Gecko on the N64. That was
Sure.
the first one of like this era of Gex.
Mm-hmm.
I think I rented it from Blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
I remember enjoying it, but like with most platformers back then, I couldn't get past the first couple of levels. Just
Yeah.
kind of derp around. Because, the controls are a little complex to get around.
Sure. Yeah.
I was somewhat surprised that it did kind of control okay.
Yeah. That was
parts?
definitely a shocking twist. Yeah.
Like the platforming was tight.
Yeah.
Enough. Loosely tight, I'll say.
It's held together.
It was held together. It was sturdy, but you could tell there was some duct tape.
There's some
here and
give.
there.
There's some give in its construction.
Yeah. So I guess that was probably the thing that kind of impressed me the most.
Yeah, for sure. Hold on.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. Where are the hot stats, Chase?
Yeah, sorry.
I apologize.
Hold on. Let's rewind and hit you with a couple of hot stats here.
It's the hot stats. Hot stats.
So real quick before we outgush ourselves, which is a very troubling sentence. This game came out for the PlayStation 1 March 23rd of 1999. This game was made by Crystal Dynamics, which was sort of a shocking.
I was shocked when I saw that.
Yeah, so you'll probably know them from like the most recent like Tomb Raider reboot. I think like that's their
You can
biggest
feel the
thing.
common DNA in there, that Gex DNA. You can feel it.
Just the way she handles, I can feel a lot of Gex coming through. They had like taken over after Eidos or something like that. Somebody had control of Tomb Raider before then.
I think it was Eidos Interactive.
Yeah.
Eidos.
Yeah, they took over after Angel of Darkness, which was like a very bad Tomb Raider game.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're making a bunch and then decided to do sort of the reboot way back when. I think that was like 5 years ago at this point. It was a pretty good game. I enjoyed those like Tomb Raider-y games. I thought they were pretty well done. They were also responsible for the Legacy of Kain and like the Soul Reaver series. Also an interesting set of video games. Also the Pandemonium. I don't know if you ever played those for PlayStation.
Is it starring pandas?
It's starring like a clown, like a jester.
No.
And some lady. I forget exactly.
Starring Jester and some lady.
And some lady. But yeah, they've been making games for quite a while. Again, surprised that they had made Gex as well. I do have a review from not our friends at Joe Video.
Oh.
From a different set of friends.
Oh.
At Mega Fun.
Mega Fun.
Mega Fun. I think this was a German video game outlet. They reviewed Gex in, I believe, German. I have taken their review. I've run it through Google Translate through as many languages as I could find and spat it back out into English to better understand the true meaning of Gex.
The true meaning of Gexmas.
So let me read for you their review of Gex. Deep Cover Gecko. Come on. Gex was added to Gex last year. Nintendo's overseas product line is different from the PlayStation product line and very different from the third game. Geckis, a deep layer of Gecko that can be adjusted in a clear and fun way. There is almost no problem. Just search for a few colors and details in the area that is easy to navigate and always gives you the right perspective. All room settings. The N64 has been redesigned and a first person is sufficient. Neo-hippies are very afraid of global warming, I tell you. 89 out of 100 for Mega Fun on this one.
What was that last bit?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, God. It hurts that... When did this game come out? 98?
99.
99, and global warming was a known thing still?
Yeah.
We've
What are we
done
doing
jack
here?
shit.
What are we doing here,
22
Megaphone?
years.
Yeah.
Neo hippies are
Afraid of global
warming.
warming, I tell
Also,
you.
why were they coming in so hot in the beginning?
Come on! Is literally the first sentence.
What, did they score it?
89 of 100. They thought this game was pretty good.
89.
This was the biggest shock of researching Gex. Very well reviewed at the time.
They were popular games. The controls were tight.
Yeah. So, yeah, why don't you run through what Gex Deep Cover Gecko is?
Gex is a gecko.
Yes.
He is also a super spy
Mm-hmm.
who traverses into the world of different televisions.
I think they
Like
call it like the,
different TV
the
worlds.
Mediaverse or something.
The Mediaverse. It's a 3D platformer
Yes.
with some action in it. So you have like a spin move, you
Got
have
tail
a
whip.
jump, you got tail whip. You can use your tongue. I don't know, what is the tongue used for anything besides just eating those little bugs?
The bugs, no, so far as I can tell, that's all I use it for.
Sure, same. So it's pretty basic controls.
Yeah.
You can do a flying karate kick, a flying side kick. It's
Mhm.
probably your best move, but
Yep.
what's the I never use it except for just traversing. That's kind of hard.
does-
Hard to line it up. But yeah, that's kind of the crux of Gex. And you just it's very much in that genre of like Mario 64-esque games where there's a hub world and then you go into different smaller worlds and then do different tasks and collect different golden remotes essentially.
I think so,
in
yeah.
each level to unlock the next areas, next televisions to go into.
Yeah, it's like I think the story of the game is that like,
Your super agent girlfriend has been kidnapped.
yeah, who's like Marlise, I think is her name. Andrada, who like you will know from if you've ever watched Baywatch. She is Skylar Bergman from Baywatch.
She's in Baywatch and she's in this game.
Yes.
Wow.
If you can sort of understand the market they were trying to hit here with like, gamers.
Yeah, Gex is very problematic. I
Oh
found.
my God. Yeah. It's
Very problematic.
It's so rough that like some of it's like weird and like, okay, this is kind of fun, but like every other line that he says, I'm like, oh my God, Gex.
Yeah, when he's talking, especially when he's talking to the woman, it's just like
Horrendous.
It's just harassment, honestly, is what it is. And she's just playing him
Yes.
off like, oh, Gex. Just like, oh my God, it's so 90s. Just like,
Yeah,
oh, it's just some light sexual harassment. Pfft, this guy.
That's how
He's just a man.
you know how geckos get.
Yeah, he's not even a man. You know how geckos get.
So pretty rough on that part of it.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah.
Especially because it's a kid's game. Damn.
Very weird. Yeah. Like it's just expected, you know
Yeah.
how this works. So yeah, I guess contextually, if you don't listen to a lot of other video game podcasts, like Gex is like a very easy video game to dunk on because it's so of its time and so like just fucking weird. He's like Gex is like the 90s character of like Sonic has somehow aged better. Despite like so clearly just
The
being
character
like a
or
weird,
the game?
all of it has aged better than Gex. I'm not trying to be nasty about Gex here, but like I think it's important to contextualize that this is like kind of a weird corner of video games that like I think a lot of people look back on and were like, what the fuck were we thinking?
Yeah. Like the
probably
character,
including Crystal Dynamics.
I can only imagine. Like the humor is just such like 90s boomer humor.
Dude,
did you
it's
get
so,
that vibe?
Absolutely. It is the weirdest shit. In fact, I have a couple of examples that I wanted to show you.
And can I just say real quick?
Yeah.
The character of Gex is like a weird mashup of like Rodney Dangerfield and Chandler Bing trying to be a spy. Do you get that vibe? Do you feel that?
I've got another celebrity that I think is also very relevant.
Okay. I
that
want to hear your
will-
take too.
Sure. Let me just kind of play you some of the Deep Cover Gecko quotes from Gex. He's got apparently 18 minutes worth.
18 minutes. He he doesn't stop talking. Is the
Constantly
amazing thing.
talking.
Like
Constantly
every couple of
talking.
seconds, it's like, okay, new voice line, and they repeat on each level too. So you start hearing the same ones over and over and over again.
So I'm going to start at 30 seconds in. We'll just take a little sampling here.
Silent but deadly. Swinging, baby. Bam! big hurt. That is one powerful piece of machinery. Tagged you. My tail says hello. See what? Gotta love the tail. My tail doesn't like you. Somebody's gotta do it.
What are we doing here?
Money, baby. I am so money with this tail thing. How do you like it?
I will say I don't hate his Austin Powers impersonations. I could deal with the Austin Powers impersonations.
Yeah.
That's kind of ridiculous. But the rest of it is just so fucking weird. Like what is the character that's happening here?
I don't know. He just comes off as smarmy.
Very smarmy.
Like slime, like not even good smarmy, like slimy smarmy, like mean smarmy.
I would also like to play you a sampling of Pauly Shore's stand-up real quick.
She always had after parties, my mom. She always called the comedians back to the house for the fucking after parties, you know what I'm saying? I'd go downstairs to a smoke-filled room. I'd open the door. Richard Pryor would be basing. He'd be like, what's happening, little Robin Williams would be all going, nanu, 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 nanu. You're like, Mom, I guess you're not making me that sack lunch, huh?
Do you get what I'm saying here?
He's like the Dane Cook of his time. Is that fair?
Yes.
Just like a guy whose comedy has aged very poorly over time.
Who a lot of it seems to have a lot to do with the way he's delivering it and not the content that is being delivered. Like, Gex is not particularly funny, and I think what is funny about him and Pauly Shore's stand-up is that the way that it is being delivered, and I think the same is true of Dane Cook, unfortunately enough. Not to dunk on Dane Cook if you love him. There's some funny bits in there, but I feel like a lot of
noted former Dane Cook stan.
Absolutely, I do want to get just like a little toe in the defense there, just like a hand. But
you were silent when I compared him to Dane Cook.
I honestly wanted to chase that down because I did want to think about what Gex would look like if it came out in 2005, and I do think it is Dane Cook. I do think it is that.
Yeah.
So he has like, I don't know, some fucking spiked up hair and like talks about mega finger or whatever the fuck is
Sufi?
going on. Dane Cook. Yeah. Yes. Jesus. How did you know that?
I know things.
So, yeah, like so much of what Gex is saying in this video game is just absolutely befuddling. And when I was younger, I was like, I'm going to write this off as like, I'm too young to get this.
Yeah.
And I still think I am too young to get this. I think I am too young to understand the comedy of Gex the Gecko.
Yeah. It definitely feels like, I don't know, yeah, but boomers were like, okay, let's write something funny for the kids.
Something.
What do kids like? They like funny voices and the like strange, very esoteric like pop culture references, right?
It's so many celebrity references and I'm like, it makes no sense. I have no idea who you're referencing, what current event in 1999 you're talking about.
Like I'm reeling from the last reference he made and still processing it, and then he makes another, and I can't keep up. It's death by a thousand cuts by Gex. Like I couldn't take it after a while.
It's sort of verbal violence of him just trying to make references at you every time you do
like
a tailspin.
verbal violence with a smile, because he's like trying to make you laugh, but like it just comes off as very almost like aggressive. You know?
Yeah.
Like how much they're trying.
I will say like that part of it is the content of it sometimes is just a huge bummer, but I really appreciate that they're just fucking swinging with the fences. Like we're doing so many jokes per minute that you will barely be able to keep up with the sheer just mountain of nonsense that we're hurling at you.
Like I think this is a game that ages poorly in that regard, because I feel like voice acting and voice lines and voice work in games was still kind of a rarity back then.
Yeah.
So I think they were just like, we have the ability somehow to just do all of these lines. Let's just cram it in there. Let's figure out what is too much. And they found it. They found what is too much, I think, right?
It is
because there's not much
a
like
lot, yeah.
There's not much voice acting in any other game at this time besides like cutscenes.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in this one, they're like, okay, let's see how much people
Gex
can
is
take
just
like
slamming them out,
in
man.
just a regular game. You know, maybe they're not all going to be A+ jokes, but we're just gonna, it's, you know, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So I think applaud them for that. They were swinging, like you said, swinging for the fences.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, it's laudable. It is laudable.
It's just such a weird fucking video game. Like trying to take Gex seriously sort of led me down a path of madness, I think.
You can't, because it doesn't take itself seriously.
That's
There's no point. There's no point. Yeah.
I wasn't trying to like analyze it with like a serious face, but I was just like, okay, Gex, let's see what you got going on in here. And then
What's under the hood?
There's Pauly Shore, Dane Cook, the Gecko, just like making jokes at me. Did you? No, because we didn't play this one. Hold on, let me just show you the intro to Gex.
Enter the Gecko?
Enter the Gecko, yeah.
That's the first one on the N64 and PS1 era.
So let me just play a little bit of this for you, this intro. If this is going to give you any indication, this is the intro of Gex, where 2 FBI agents have brought Gex in for questioning.
So they whisked me away to Interrogation 101. They play rough. Start giving me the business. I give a little back.
Oh my god.
Gex gets slapped by an FBI agent and farts at him in response.
Farts back. Wow.
If that is any indication of what is happening in these video games.
What a gecko.
Also, like, the most obvious mouth fart sound I've ever heard.
Yeah, definitely
So
just someone
clearly.
did this right here.
And then the man throwing up in the background as a result of it. Oh my god.
And gecko farts hit different, man.
I felt like I was like staring into the abyss with Gex, and it was definitely staring back and like mocking me for trying to.
It was throwing out some esoteric pop culture reference at you.
Dude, it's like the farce that people think Family Guy is sometimes, and it is this a lot of the time, but where it's just sort of like 2 like pop culture references mashed against each other.
Do you think Seth MacFarlane's a big Gex fan? Do you think that's where he got this inspiration for a lot of his jokes?
It's totally possible. I think the dude who played Gex is like somehow tangentially involved in Family Guy too.
Are you serious?
I'm pretty sure. Let me see. Yeah, Dana Gould. He's in a bunch of stuff.
I was about to say that name sounds very familiar.
But yeah, in a bunch of like cartoons and shit like that. It seems like perhaps a dude made for cartoon comedy. Okay, I feel very compelled to say some nice things about Gex because look, this is a optimistic show.
Yeah,
we like to be real and pull out the good stuff of the game.
Yeah,
Gex is a monstrous abyss, which if you look into too long, the abyss will look back at you and leave an imprint on you that is everlasting and will never leave you. But you know what? Sometimes the jumping's pretty cool.
Sometimes that was honestly kind of stoked by the platforming, like the actual gameplay itself. Not bad. It's like it is the anti video game optimism game because the gameplay is quite
pretty
solid,
good.
but everything else, the vibes, the settings,
writing, the people,
the characters, the music, all of it is wrong. Everything else is wrong. Like the terrible mishmash of Christmas songs on that first level.
It's so confusing.
Stuck in my head. It's just like everything else was just like this, this coked up kind of like, I'm just going to throw everything at you all at once. And if you didn't like that last chorus, here's the next one in like 4 seconds. Here we go. It just keeps going.
Yeah.
It's just this strange roller coaster of stimulus that this game takes you on. It's very much an experience. And it's very much an experience.
This game is the 100 Gex of, oh my god.
What?
100 Gex, the like meme artist who's just like a cacophony of noise and sound. It's GECS, 100 Gex. It's like hyperpop is what they call it.
GECX?
Sorry, GECS. It's a mess of music. It's like frequently dunked on because it's just sort of like nonsense, but there's something in there. Let me get you a little bit.
It's very kind of manic.
Yes, manic I think is the correct word for this.
It's just high, like it's just one high and it never comes down.
No,
just keeps going.
So hyperpop is sort of the genre there of like it is I think attempting to constantly be hitting the high of a chorus throughout the entire song, and I'm just not realizing that it's literally 100 Gex.
Do you think he's actually referring to Gex, the game?
Maybe not logically, maybe not directly.
Subconsciously, he knew. He tapped into Gex, the game. That is kind of what it is. It is, I guess, a hyper-pop game.
Oh, no.
Because I mean, everything in that song, in that song in the North Pole level was just the chorus.
Yeah.
Everything is a punchline.
They never leave room to let a joke sink in.
No, they just hit you and keep hitting you and slapping you, and you're crying and you say, please stop, and they say, no, here's another joke, here's another chorus, here's another platforming element. You're like, oh God, please, Gex.
I'm very disturbed at the phrase hyperpop video game.
You're disturbed by it.
I'm very. It's raising a certain amount of terror in my person.
It's coming.
It's like just a
10
video
years,
game that
all the indie games, hyperpop.
I just cite Gex.
Gex-like.
Oh no.
Ugh. This is a Gex-like roguelike Metroidvania.
I have stared too long into the darkness, David. We're falling down the rabbit hole. Oh no. Okay, hold on. Just let me get some optimism out of this.
Hey Chase, it's me, Gex. It's darker than the gap between Gary Busey's teeth in here, am I right?
Oh my God, dude. It's this. That almost made too much sense. It almost made too much sense. Like just weird shit that I'm like, I'm not even sure that that's like a relevant reference, Gex.
Yeah, I know. It's so confusing.
Listen, I have to put this point forward.
It's a fever dream of a game. Sorry, continue.
It is a fever dream of a game. The variety of the levels, pretty good.
The variety was good. I was impressed.
I thought that was good. Also, it takes some gusto to start the game in the Christmas level.
Yeah,
that is usually deep into the video game. That's like the snow levels.
Mid to late game, the snow level. Right?
Number one. Let's get this out the way because it's our best. The snow level.
I did appreciate that they didn't do any slippy physics. Any slippy slidey physics.
Yeah.
I do not. I never enjoy that in a level. Mm-mm. And I appreciate that their snow level had none of that I encountered, at least.
He's a little gecko, man. He's got sticky feet.
I did enjoy their little snowboarding segment.
Pretty good.
Not bad.
Yeah.
You know, you go around, you hit the elves. They say, don't harsh my mellow in a weird, uptuned sort of a voice.
Sort of a Pauly Shore sort of reference.
Pauly Shore sort of reference.
Dane Cook.
Don't harsh my mellow, making fun of extreme sports, just like any good boomer would. That's really what kind of made me feel boomerish about this game.
This is never going to be football. It's
pretty much
a real
Look at
sport.
These people. You put a board on your feet and go down a half pipe. Pfft, where's all the hitting other folks?
Where's the sports?
Where's the sports in this? Where's the football? But yeah, that was good. I liked the little Santa boss battle in there.
Mm-hmm.
I liked there was one small joke in there that said Rudolph is a brown-nosed reindeer that I actually laughed at. It was written on the wall. I was
that's not terrible. Okay,
that's kind of funny. You know, it's not like thrown at you like a Gex line is. It's just it's environmental environmental Gex storytelling, which was good. And yeah, the different levels were nice. They had like the spooky maze.
That was good
level.
I appreciated.
That's all I got to.
I appreciated WW Gex, the wrestling like bonus level. That was pretty good. There was like a Greek level where you're like playing like gods, which I thought was very fun.
Mm-hmm.
The spooky level was good. I think that was like the one with all like the British hunters with like blunderbusses and shit like that, which is very good.
Yeah. The variety of gameplay was surprising and solid.
That is probably the most shocking part to me was that like the video game, I was like, hey,
there's a good game under all of this.
There's a pretty good video game buried under this such challenging veneer that they have chosen to put over it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I feel like we weren't super nice to Gex. And I wanna give Gex its time in the sun.
This is fair. I feel like all of our staples of things that we enjoy in a game where it was, like I said, it was the opposite of a video game podtimistic game this week.
But maybe we need to, maybe we're learning to stretch our legs.
The issue is us, not Gex.
I don't know.
We need to evolve as podtimists. That's what this is telling us.
It feels like the issue is Gex. It feels like the problem is Gex.
You're sounding like Darth Chet right now.
Yeah, that is true.
I need the Jedi Master Chase Albee back.
The Podtimism Jedi Master.
Not Darth Chutby.
Darth Chutby. Darth Buttby.
Darth Shut Buttby.
Oh my god. The game felt tight. The levels were had a high level of variety.
They all felt very unique. Every level was different.
Unique. Yeah.
Different vibe of madness in each one.
How often does this happen where like the video game is the good part and not like all the rest of it?
Not often.
No.
Not often do we have this dilemma.
No.
And I think that's why it was reviewed well back in the day.
People were hungry for the video game part of it. And a lot of it, which there is. It
probably didn't seem quite so manic back then for one reason or another.
I think that was just a lot of how comedy was just sort of like breakneck and like, we need to hurl references at you. Mm-hmm. This section has taken a lot out of me. I feel drained.
You look drained.
Yeah.
You look like you've been through it. You ran a mile.
I hate to restate it again, but I looked at Gex and something
in his entirety
and something,
his enormity,
some monstrous form was looking back at me, and that was a challenging moment for me to really dig in there.
You made it through.
Anyway, so yeah, Gex is a pretty good game. Next time on Video Game Podtimism, we will review Glover.
Oh, okay.
7 out of 10 for Glover. I can't go straight to Glover after this one. That is too much.
Cattails, baby. Cattails.
Ugh, Cattails is like maybe a good game though.
I know, but like that's why we put it on Good Game.
Yeah, but like usually they're okay games.
How about good games can be either good games from yesteryear that didn't get their shine, or indie games that are good, like just legit good.
Yeah.
That also need a little bit more recognition.
Yeah, sure.
How about that?
That's fair enough. Because like I feel like most of the time any of the indie games that we bring up are like they're talked about. Either that or like they're definitely talked about. Like it's fairly rare that I'm like bringing up a game that nobody has heard of.
We need some indie games.
Yeah, I want those ones that are like got 30 reviews on Steam. Just like nobody playing those games.
A double indie. I think Cattails might have more than 30 reviews on Steam.
Yeah, it probably does. Hey, do you have anything else to say about Gex? Deep cover Gecko for the PlayStation 1.
Give it a shot.
Give it a shot.
There is some fun to be had in there.
There's a fucking video game buried in that terrifying otherworldly old one veneer.
It's just be prepared for a lot of visual and auditory stimulation.
Yeah. Beyond
just the tight platforming mechanics.
You may need to prepare for your mind to be flayed. By the 90s.
Gex is actually Cthulhu.
I'm not convinced, man. There was some evil in this code.
Have you ever seen them in the same room? I haven't.
No, I have not.
Pretty convincing to me.
Cthulhu would be doing a fucking Austin Powers impersonation when they show up.
Oh God! Just everyone in the world hears Austin Powers at the same time. The old one's back, baby. Yeah.
Yeah. We have to move on.
I'm gonna flay your mind. It's gonna be groovy, baby. That's it. I'm done. I'm done with my Austin Powers. I'm sorry. That was Gex level.
Hello. We are on Twitter at Pontimism. If you would like to interact with us there, and demand an apology for the last hour of your time.
Fair enough.
If you want to email us the old-fashioned way, you can get us podtimism@gmail.com.
Sugar cube, 2 dashes of Angustia bitters,
orange
peel.
What are the words you're saying
around the edges?
What is this?
1 or 2 shots of whiskey.
Old-fashioned. Oh,
served over a large ice cube in a rocks glass.
I swear that I'm understanding English worse now that I've played Gex. Like it's left that kind of impact on me.
With 1 Luxardo cherry for garnish.
There's a lot of video games that didn't leave this big of an impact on either of us. I wonder what that means.
It's monumental, this game.
If you would like to help out the podcast, there are 2 things you can do. One is leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, or just fucking do us a follow on another one of the podcasting outlets, I think. I don't exactly know how all of those work, TBH, but Apple Podcasts is an easy one. You can go just like right in there. Like, hey, I'm Mr. Cerny, and I loved Gex, and you're wrong. 5 out of 5. So
let's hear a rebuttal. I'm ready.
Let's hear it. And the other thing you can do is you can show it to a friend who also likes video games. Maybe not to your Gex friends. Maybe not those friends, because I don't know that we were super high on this one. If somebody's like really into that veneer, the terrifying coat of paint that they have on this game, they may not find what they're looking for. But if they love the mechanics of Gex and not the paint, the coat of paint that they have on it, then show them this one. Maybe they might like it.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Finally, the last thing of note is we would like to say thank you, listener, for being here and listening to this podcast.
Yeah, thanks for listening to my Austin Powers impersonating my Cthulhu impersonating Austin Powers impersonation.
Sure. Yeah.
Sorry,
I hope
that.
I hope I can squeeze a title out of that sentence right there. But yeah, thank you for listening to that and the rest of this diatribe we've had. There's plenty of podcasts out there that you can listen to. You got your dailies, you got your Today Explained, you got your Besties podcast, you got your Triple Clicks. Already did one of those. Pumped that one up, which you may have already left for and started listening to them. Come back.
Mm-hmm.
But we appreciate that you spent it here and you've made it all the way to the end. Congratulations. Yeah, thank you. We deeply appreciate you listening to this podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks. Dave, do you have any video game wisdom to sort of bring me back to sanity? I
do.
Like my sanity meter is like verging on the part where it starts to get like physically dangerous for me.
Yeah, the terrible era of Gex has come to an end.
Mm-hmm.
But now the dark reign of Chet the Rat begins.
Chet the Rat?
Yes.
Is that the video game series you're going to make?
Chet the Rat and Crunk.
Chet the Rat and... No, Chet the Rat featuring Crunk?
Chet the Rat featuring Crunk. New featuring new Crunky mode?
New Crunky mode, yes, thank you.
I've been thinking of Rat Chet this whole time. And
David.
I think he is the evolution of Gex.
Oh, no.
A rat named Chet, modeled after Chet Hanks. Hot Boy Summer. The Rat. Chet.
The Rat. Oh, man.
Hot Rat Summer.
See, Hot Rat Summer, there's something to that. I feel like a little rat a lot of the time.
Why?
Have you ever had to eat Subway on your lap?
Probably.
Like roll.
I got a picnic, roll it out, and
Yeah.
like eat it, and I definitely. I don't know if I've had like an individual Subway sandwich in my lap, but I've definitely eaten like those large shared Subway subs.
Sure.
Out on a picnic or something.
It's a challenging experience, and that's the time that I felt. I think this was in spring. I had a Subway sandwich on my lap, and I felt like a little rat.
Are you saying Subway is rat food?
No, I felt like a rat because I had to like with my little grubby hands put this like drippy mustardy turkey sandwich on my lap, paper and all, and just sort of like carefully shove little bits of food into my mouth like a tiny rat. I couldn't eat on a table like a normal person. I had to eat it.
Why are you having such a hard time eating Subway?
Because it's hard to do on your lap. Okay, so imagine the physics of a Subway sub. There are two of them, and you've got two legs. If you at any point open your legs, or if you don't keep them closed very tight, one of those little sub bits is going to fall in between your legs, and then all of your mustardy, lettuce, oily combo is going to fall in between your jeans and get you all oily and nasty. And
why don't you just take the larger sub wrap and wrap it around the bottom and eat it like a...
I got a foot of sub. I can't eat foot to foot. I got to start from the middle and eat outward. I'm going to eat one half of this at a time. I can't eat top down like a gyro or something like that. I gotta piece it off one by one because I do need to mark the amount of sandwich that I've eaten because there is a limit on the amount of chips that I have because obviously I've come from Subway where I've bought a tiny bag of original Lay's. This is revealing of my personal character, I feel like.
You're having a tough time even saying this.
Yeah. Anyway, so I felt like a tiny rat trying to shove the day's findings into my mouth before another rat could come find me and take away my Subway sandwich.
But why didn't you just like get a bunch of napkins and just put it on one end of the sandwich and eat it like a man?
Baby, I had napkins. It did not solve my problem. I still dripped fucking mayo on my pants. I still dripped mayo on my pants. This was a challenge for me. And
I'm sorry to hear this. I'm sorry to hear this.
Listen.
It's a tragedy in 3 parts.
The answer to your question is yes. I have felt like a rat before. And I think the dark spell that you've cast is Chet the Rat.
Oh, you're not Chet the Rat.
No. I am not Chet the Rat, but I understand his presence.
You understand.
I have felt him.
You have named the dark presence that has haunted me since my childhood. He now has more power now that he has a name.
Chet, the specter of Chet the Rat has finally shown his face and his true name.
There is a power in a name. You have brought Chet into the astral plane, into the temporal plane of the humans.
We can't play Gex anymore, David. We can't play a game like Gex.
We're going to load up Gex tomorrow, and it's not going to be Gex the Gecko. It's going to be Chet the Rat.
Chet the Rat. Something else has happened. Some otherworldly curse.
It's just like how everybody thought it's the Bernstein Bears.
And no longer.
But it's the Bernstein Bears, right? Isn't that it?
Yeah.
Bernstein Bears.
We're the final connective tissue between the universe of Gex the Gecko and Chet the Rat. I apologize.
Maybe this is what gets us back into the good timeline.
Maybe
Chet the Rat actually will write the timeline.
It's a high price to pay. I've seen the face of Chet the Rat. I have called in his name. And I know the evil that lay beneath. But
It wasn't the all-encompassing abyss that is Gex the Gecko. You're making a rat position right there. You were just naturally just coming up with your wrists flexed by your eyeballs. That was wild, Chase.
Anyway, see you next week where we exist in a different universe thanks to our fucked up otherworldly curse that we've now laid upon this plane of existence.
Sounds good to me, baby. Get me out of here.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, oh, God. Chet the Rat's first line.
Yeah, baby. Referencing a 20-year-old movie.
He wears 70s outfits.
Oh my God.